continue on with atomic structure now. We are going to get started with periodic trends. The first of our trends is the atomic radius. Okay, so you may be familiar with that term radius from geometry, circles, that kind of thing. If you do, you know that the radius is the distance from the center to the outside edge of a circle or a sphere. So the larger a radius is, you can think of it this way, this is the same as the size. Okay, so atomic radius means atomic size. And we're going to get into the factors that determine that size, as well as the patterns that we see along the periodic table of how this works. So the first thing that I want you to observe is that going from left to right, the protons will increase. Okay, so going from left to right, we know the atomic number goes up, which means the protons will go up. What we have to factor into that is if the number of protons goes up, so do the number of electrons. The thing that's going to be very important for us to understand is as I get more protons and neutrons in the positive center, I'm also getting more electrons on the outside. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say this would be with 10 electrons, 10 protons, this would be my neon. Okay, so what I want you to consider though is that these electrons don't like each other. Because they don't like each other, these electrons out here are actually going to be pushing away. They are being repelled by the electrons on the inside energy levels, so that expands the shell as you go down the table. From left to right though, comparing let's say magnesium to chlorine. Well, magnesium has electrons that are not being pulled by as many protons, so the positive pull is not as strong. There are fewer electrons on the outside than there will be further on. However, these electrons aren't being pulled in as tightly. So as I go from the left side, okay, these are held pretty loosely, pretty loose, getting in tighter and tighter and tighter as I get more and more and more electrons, more and more and more protons. Because I have these massive protons, they're going to be pulling in, and the electrons are pulled closer. So the trend that I observe is atomic size increases from right to left. Okay, the radius or the atomic size increases from right to left. So that means that these are very, very small, and these are very, very large compared to each other. Now the second idea is going from top to bottom. Okay, so again, these periods, okay, the rows indicate the energy levels, okay, additional shells that are going to start to be filled up with electrons. Okay, so this would be my next energy level. If it gets filled up, then I'm looking here at argon. So there's going to be even more repulsion from the inside electrons, which means it's going to push further and further away from this nucleus, and I have a larger and larger radius as I increase energy levels. So top to bottom, there's an increase in energy. The electrons will be further and further away as I go from top to bottom. So the increase goes from top to bottom in terms of increase of radius. So again, the small values will be on the top of the table, and the larger radius is going to be found here on the bottom. So if I were to combine the trends, draw a diagonal arrow, it's going to go from the top right to the bottom left. My radius increases. Now we're going to work out some practice problems here. I'll give you guys a second to pause. I assume you have enough time to do that pause, and let's go and get started. So we want to order the following elements in terms of increasing atomic radius. So increasing goes from low to high. Increasing radius. So hopefully you have a periodic table in front of you. You can work those out. I have titanium, calcium, nickel, and bromine. So titanium, let's back that up. Titanium calcium, nickel, and bromine. And I wanted them in increasing radius size, so I want to go the smallest are on the right, the largest are on the left. So it'll be bromine, nickel, titanium, calcium. Bromine, nickel, titanium, calcium. Okay, so bromine, nickel, titanium, followed by calcium. That is my increasing order. Now we want to order the following elements in terms of decreasing atomic radius. Okay, so decreasing indicates I want to go from the highest radius value to the lowest radius value. So bismuth, phosphorus, arsenic, and nitrogen are my elements. Okay. So I had bismuth, phosphorus, arsenic, and nitrogen. So along this group, remember the trend. It increases from top to bottom. I don't want an increase though. I wanted a decrease this time. So from largest to small, I'm going to go bismuth, arsenic, phosphorus, nitrogen. Okay, so that's what you should have come up with. Now, order the following elements in terms of decreasing atomic size. Notice the only thing that's different here is the word radius and the word size. But we already talked about radius and size are the same thing. So we want decreasing. Again, decreasing goes high to low. And the elements that I'm looking at now are beryllium, potassium, cesium, magnesium. So this time around, let's go ahead and clear those marks. And let's remember what that was. They were beryllium, potassium, cesium, magnesium. So beryllium, potassium, cesium, and magnesium. So now they're not all in the same row, they're not all in the same period, so I have to think about the diagonal trend. Okay? Now the diagonal trend again is an increase in radius going from top right to bottom left, but I want the decreasing order, so I want to go from the high values, bottom left, to the low values to the top right. So the order that I'm going to choose is going to go cesium, bottom left, to potassium, magnesium, beryllium. So this is that order: cesium, potassium, magnesium, beryllium. Now the last one here, we have order the following elements in terms of increasing. Increasing means low to high. Increasing atomic size. Now again, atomic size means atomic radius, same thing. And we want to look at molybdenum, sulfur, barium, zinc. Oops, let's go and do that. So molybdenum, sulfur, barium, zinc. Molybdenum, let's find molybdenum, sulfur, there's my zinc, and there's my barium. So this grouping, I wanted an increasing group, increasing. So this one's going to go opposite. If it's going to be increasing, I want to go low to high. I'm going from the top right down to the bottom left. It'll be sulfur, zinc, molybdenum, barium. So sulfur, zinc, molybdenum, followed by barium. Hope that was helpful, guys, and I'll check you next time.